Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Hoops All In podcast. I'm your host, Werls Francois, Kaine Legacy, Kyle Anthony. We are here for another discussion of hoops, and it is in the greatest, possibly Eastern Conference playoffs going on right now. Golden State Warriors, most likely they're going to win the whole damn thing. And the Dallas Mavericks, at the time of this recording, Golden State has a commanding 3-0 series lead over Dallas and is looking to make their sixth trip to the NBA Finals in 8 years. So I want to ask you guys this. First of all, what is your reaction to Golden State most likely making the playoffs? I say most likely it's going to happen. They're not blowing the 3-1 lead.
And making the finals.
Making the finals, excuse me. Yeah, making the finals, excuse me. And two, is Golden State's dynasty back to life, or is this their last hurrah? What do you guys think? Who wants to go first?
Go ahead. Yeah. I know you.
Anyone could go. Like, just go.
I don't think this is any kind of. I think it's ridiculous to be talking about. This is like a curtain call for them, something like that. I mean, they, for some reason, the mindset, the popular mindset is if you're over 30, you're over the hill in the NBA. And if you actually have some significant success past 33, then you're an outlier. You know what I mean? It's all about, they keep themselves in tremendous shape. They have that championship pedigree, so to speak, and they, there's plenty of accounts of players who, even if they don't have if they lose a step, if they're a step slower because of age or whatever reason, they can still have that cerebral game that can still help a team win. But, we're talking about Thompson, Curry, and Green being, they're, even if they were to start stepping towards the background and pushing forward the younger players that are coming off the bench, the younger players they're still set. And it's a perfect time now for their players like Poole and and the like that are learning from them and getting this experience relatively earlier in their career. It's perfect time. And I think they're going to be set for a while, especially as long as Steve Kerr is the coach, who is like fast becoming the younger Greg Popovich, as far as I'm concerned. And I don't think it's sacrilegious to say, because I absolutely love Greg Popovich, and I think he's an NBA coach god, but just in so many different respects. But I'm just saying Steve Kerr is definitely on that fast track. And I think the Golden State Warriors are set up for a long time, as far as I'm concerned.
I have to agree. I mean, I don't know. Like, so, whereas the way it was, the question is this their last hurrah, or?
Yeah, so your reaction to Golden State having a commanding 3-0 series lead and most likely going to the NBA Finals for the sixth time in the last 8 years. What are your reaction to that? And is their dynasty back to life, or is this like their last big hurrah, especially how gutted the West is going to be come next year?
Okay. So the 3-0 lead against Dallas, that's not a surprise to me personally. I mean, the Warriors are as like the Bulls dynasty, you know what I mean? Like, they just separate themselves out there. You know what I mean? Like, that's really not a surprise. I don't think anybody's surprised that they're going to take Dallas down. Maybe 3-0. Maybe I would have gave Dallas one game, but I don't. Did anybody really think it was going to be a challenging series for them? I mean, but then again, I could be wrong, because I thought Phoenix was going to beat Dallas. So, hey. As far as them being, I mean, obviously I think they're a dynasty. And whether that ends this year or not, I don't have that, an insight to say that it's going to end this year. I think that, it lasts as long as it lasts. I mean, these things are cyclical. We were talking before the show about how athletes have a good 10, 15 years, the run, but there's all kind of moves to be made. Steve Kerr's still going to be there, and I think he's excellent. You know what I mean? So I mean, I don't know. I don't think that it's coming to an end anytime soon. Within the next 2-3 years, I just don't see that.
I agree.
I guess it depends on what you mean by soon, but they're going to be one of the best teams in the league for at least the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. I'm gonna start with my reactions first. So no surprise that they're going to make that. I'm just gonna assume that they are going to be in the NBA Finals, even though at the time of this recording they're up 3-0. But we got a fast track to the future. They will be in the NBA Finals again, so I'm not surprised there. In terms of how they battled against the Dallas Mavericks in the conference finals, I'm not surprised either. I mean, Golden State was the better, superior team. They were more deep, top to bottom. They play more guys. And if you look at Dallas's standpoint of view, they're playing 1-on-5. You know, I was watching these sports shows. People say, well, Luka needs to trust his teammates more. He needs to pass. He needs to do this. Luka really doesn't have any help. I mean, he's pretty much playing 1-on-5. Outside of Jalen Brunson, what other scoring option does he have?
So Spencer Dinwiddie.
Okay, let me get to that point. So Luka is 2-6 when he scores 40 or more points in a playoff game. That's according to StatMuse. But as I said, he has no other scoring options. You talked about Spencer Dinwiddie, right? Spencer Dinwiddie had 4 points in game 2. He showed up in game 3 at 26, but he's been abysmal for the most part this series. You talk about Reggie Bullock, gave you a big 0. He was 0 of 10 in game 3. You got no points. I'm like, dude, you playing 28, 30 minutes and you score 0 points? Talk about Kleber too, 3 points in game 2, 0 points in game 3, and 25 minutes of play. So Luka's like, hold on. I'm giving Reggie Bullock, I'm passing him the ball 10 times, like, yo, you wide open, shoot the shot, and you just brick, clank, clank, clank. He sounded like Russell Westbrook out there. I mean, bro, you're not making nothing.
Speaking from a Knicks fan point of view, that sounds very familiar.
Yeah, but
we had him last season.
It's just like Reggie Bullock. And I'm just like, hold on. I'm not going to keep passing you guys the ball if y'all ain't making no shots. So that means I got to go 1-on-1 because I'm the only reliable scoring option outside of me and Brunson. So I don't blame him. But look at Dallas this series. Like, again, they had 3 players in double figures in game 3. They had, compared to Golden State, 5 players in double figures in game 3. Game 2, Dallas had 4 players in double figures. Golden State had 6 players in double figures. Game 1, Dallas had 4 players in double figures in scoring. Golden State had 8 players in double figures in scoring. So you see the kind of repetitive here. Golden State has more scoring options and how they distribute the basketball because a lot of those guys are able to put the ball in the hoop. Wiggins, Poole, Thompson, Draymond could get it going time to time. We talked about Wiggins and obviously Steph. Compared to, outside of Luka and Brunson, who else is going to be that consistent 20-point scorer? Golden State has legit 4 or 5 20-point scorers compared to Dallas, who's has 2 that you could trust.
And it's been that way for a while. It's been that way before. It was that way before they got Wiggins. It's been that way like in their earlier days of this core being together because of how they play together, that they have multiple playmakers on the teams and because they can all score if they have to. And now they're one of the top defensive teams in the league. So, which is something that no one ever really, I would guess with all the offense that they've been known to have, no one ever really thought of them as a defensive team until, this past full season, regular season. So, it only catches people by surprise when they just haven't been paying attention, which is kind of ridiculous.
I got a question for both of you guys, actually. Like as somebody who plays ball myself, but I don't play organized ball, right? I feel like both of you said the word reliable, which is what happened to Phoenix. Like, our stars in Phoenix just weren't reliable down the stretch. What's that X factor? Like, what causes that? Is that a coaching thing or whatever? Because I know when I go out to play ball, I'll have an amazing game where it feels like I can't lose. I can't miss a shot. And then other days I couldn't hit, the side of a barn with a basketball. So it's like, what is that X factor? What causes these guys to be reliable? Is that coaching? Is that just how they're wired on the inside? Because I feel like Kevin Durant was more reliable in Golden State than he was in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Like, what is that?
Just from a personal opinion, I feel like the X factor is made up of smaller parts. and it's a lot of the things that you mentioned. Sometimes it is coaching and it's plays coming up, in-game plays being called. Sometimes it is the motivation. Sometimes, and professional athletes really shouldn't need motivation to play in a big game. But sometimes it's just, you just don't have it going. Sometimes it's just a mental thing. No matter how on point you are, how prolific a scorer or defender that you are. But I just think that X factor is made up of more than one thing. I don't see that it can point to any, because it varies from player to player, team to team, and game to game. It's like, well, why does this team have like a Jekyll and Hyde mentality, or why is all of a sudden, so that's what I think.
I think it comes down to like coaching has to do a part of it, because you mentioned, well, you shouldn't be motivated to play in a big game, whether it's a championship game or a game to get to the championship round, like the finals. But also, if you're missing shots and you've been in a funk lately, that coach got to give you that inspiration to get you going. So the coach plays a small factor into that. I also think it has to attribute to player development and organization that you're with. You look at Golden State. They turned Wiggins into an all-star this year. They turned Jordan Poole into a max guy. He's going to get a lot of money in the all season. Kevon Looney, he's going to get a lot of money in the all season, getting all those rebounds that he's been getting the past few games in the postseason. So it just turns to player development, would you see the greatest strength of a player who has potential to maximize that strength and to work on his area. So if he's not good at shooting, perhaps you get him to a level that's average. So if it's in the fourth quarter, he's not like a Rudy Gobert. We got to sub him out. You know what I'm saying? So it has to be player development, coaching to a certain degree, to a very, very small degree of player development. And at the end of the day, it's like mindset. I just think you draft right players, you fit them into a system that they buy in, you'll have success like Golden State is having right now.
But just to Kaine's point, sorry, but
go ahead, because you might be hitting my point.
Because it's really, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think what you were trying to get at is what could make a player one game or 2 games or 3 games, whatever, be the alpha male and get everything right and carry the team if he has to. And then another game, it might be just a matter of, the lights went off and and where did they go? Is that what you're pretty much
reliability? Yeah, the point being reliability.
Consistency.
Right? I do want to hear what Werls. I really want to hear what Werls has to say.
Okay, so now maybe you could possibly say, if we're talking about the terms of the playoffs, where now the Eastern Conference games is every other night, could fatigue play a factor? Because you're going out there, you're playing close to 40 minutes a night. You got to go into the ice tub. You're sore. Okay. It's like, okay, now
which is something I wanted to. That was the one thing I needed to bring up. But
now you're practicing the next day, and it's just like, all right, your arms are a little tired, and you may not have the shot going. So fatigue and soreness does play a factor.
So fatigue. All right. So then genetics would help with that, because Kobe, MJ. Kerry, I mean, the names of the superstars, what do they have in common? They're the same, like it seems to me they're the same level of reliability, no matter what mindset they're in, no matter how their bodies feel. And I'm just trying to figure out what that X factor is. And I mean, this may
psychological, psychological, because fatigue can be mental as well as physical, obviously. And sometimes you just don't have it. Something that is like so commonplace and so routine to you, and it becomes muscle memory. Some days it's just still, I just can't get it going. And I think that's what it is in some cases, and it just goes to show that they're human. That's all. We look at them, they're superstars and they're Iron Man, so to speak. But at the end of the day, some days you just don't have it.
I just I'm somebody who looks, as you guys know, I take it seriously. The idea of being like having your role being the guy that shows up, you know what I mean? Like no matter how you feel, you show up, you know what I mean? So I'm just wondering what makes a star a star. What makes is it the reliability? Is the ability? I'm not even just asking it. Like I'm just wondering what you guys really think on it.
Practice.
So just development, I guess. Kind of go back to what I said. Development. Like you could be available, but if you're not producing, then what good is your availability if you're not doing anything? You know what I'm saying? If you like, okay, we see like, all right, you're good at this game. We're going to maximize this part of your game so you could be effective. And then, all right, we see that you're not so good at this game. we're going to help you do that. But at the end of the day, it has to become the player's initiative to recognize, okay, this is the stuff that I need to work on and I'm not good at. A la Ben Simmons, he came into the league, 2015, 2016, hasn't added a jump shot in 5, 6, 7 plus years. And you're like, dude, you've been in the league for that long. You're making about $30 million a year. You have not added nothing to improve your game. Jason Tatum came into the league. You looked at how great he got from his rookie year to his year right now, exponentially better. Now people call him top 10 player because of what he did to Kevin Durant in the first round series and knocking down the defending champions in Giannis. You look at Devin Booker, he's got tremendously better. Look at everybody who was a lottery pick. Lonzo Ball even got tremendously better, adding a jump shot, playing defense, put some muscle weight. It all goes to like, okay, you see you're not the best player. There's work that you have to do to get to a certain level of greatness if you want to be remembered as one of those great players. You got to put in the work. The coaches will more like, they have no problem helping you out, but you got to recognize, hey, this is the things I'm not good at. I need a coach to come to me with a gym, do some drills, blah, 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 so I could get into that upper epsilon of greatness. Like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, all those great, Steph Curry, every single year, there's like, listen, I'm at my apex, but if I could get 1/10 or 0.5% better than I was the previous season, they're gonna do it. That's what it is.
So it is like Kyle said, and what you're saying, it's psychology. They have more of a why. They like because the guys you were talking about, like Ben Simmons, certain guys, I feel like they get into the league. Their biggest why was the money. So once they cash out
and become complacent.
You know what I mean. But these other guys, it's a psychological thing with them.
Yes,
you know what I mean. It's not just the money. You know, it's something where it's like I need to get just that fraction of an inch better than I was last game. You know, and they compete with themselves. All right. Okay. Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate that. I just wanted to know, like, you know.
Yeah, no, of course, no doubt. Okay, so what do we think about Golden State's dynasty? Is it back or is it their last hurrah before we go on?
Didn't we carry that? Didn't we already answer that?
You both.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys. Well, I didn't answer, so I wanted to hear. So you said both of you guys said yes.
I'd say it's back. Yeah, I didn't know it went away, honestly.
Oh, well, I mean, when they didn't the playoffs the last 2 years, it was starting to question. I can agree with that too. Yeah. Only thing is just the West is going to be so gutted. I don't know. And there's been questions about can they be able to keep Wiggins because he's going to be making. I think he's due for an extension. He has a contract expiring after next year. They're going to sign Poole to a big extension, and they want to keep Kevon Looney. So Steph is already making like 40 million plus. They got Clay for another couple of years, Draymond for a couple of more years. So that's a lot of salary cap to keep. So
when you're saying the West is going to be gutted,
I mean, it's going to be very deep.
Okay, it's going to be deep.
Oh, okay. Means it's going to
that's
be
why I mean,
decimated.
No. I use the word gutted as like, okay, it's going to be a gauntlet. Every you look at 1 through 8.
Well, you
at least
clarify,
6 of those.
That's not how we usually use the word gutted.
So
when you gut something, you're decimating it.
So the West is going to be super deep.
It's going to be hell. 1 to 6 is going to be like 1 through 6 could legitimately say next year when they're all healthy could win a championship.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
That's the excitement of sports.